It's Sunday afternoon. It's another day that the Lord has made. That the Lord has made. And I'm glad about it. Bishop Marvin Winans is just another example of why people shouldn't follow gospel artists or gospel singers. He don't mind rebuking people. He rebuked somebody he said was a false prophet a while ago, and he just recently rebuked some man in his church concerning tithing. Bishop Wine has been preaching for a long time now. I remember when he first started preaching, he came to Memphis, G. Patterson Church. Me and my mama went and saw him. But I have never been a fan. They put out good music. The Winans put out good music. But I've never been a fan of these gospel singers, especially the preaching gospel singers. Mainly because that title, gospel artist or gospel singer, is not biblical. And the so-called gospel music industry is not of God. These preachers, celebrity preacher gospel, they've been hiding under false titles, false everything. And him rebuking a man over tithing, evidently the man said tithing is not biblical for us today. And it's not. Preachers that have something to hide and are pastoring for personal reasons, for money, they fight against the truth of the tithing. They will not preach it or teach it because they know they can't find New Testament scriptures that support what is written in Malachi. If they break it down and show it to you, they will have to show you that it's not biblical for New Testament saints. Because if you read throughout the scripture, New Testament, the Bible says, let every man give what he desired in his heart, not grudgingly, not of necessity, or such. Then the Bible talks about preachers. It said the same thing about preaching. Don't preach or work for God out of necessity or be like a constraint or out of whatever other than being willing to do it. That's why I kick against a lot of preachers that's on salary. Preachers that are preaching on salary, I don't care if they pastor a mega church or whatnot, a church can afford it, it's still not biblical for preachers to preach for money because we see scriptures telling them not. But you have preachers, pastors like Marvin Winans is supposed to be a bishop, and they've been pastoring for years, but they won't preach the doctrines of Christ. They preach what they want to preach. Here you have a man that's living in adultery, and before he got married to this second or third wife, he was married once before, but he been divorced a long time, but yet pastoring a church. In between marriages, we supposed to believe that he haven't had any sexual contact in all these years. Come on. This is the problem that we are having. We let celebrities, we let people dictate the Bible. We go to their church and we just years after year, they can just take down whatever they giving us. And in many ways you were forced to. Now he ready, I guarantee you, he's ready to kick that man out of the church because he blew him ass somebody that's gonna go against them now. He feels threatened. You know what I'm saying? But he don't talk about adultery. They don't talk about sin. If he preach against sin and adultery, he'll have to preach against pretty much everybody in the gospel music industry. He ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna do that. Marvin Sapp, none of them. So-called gospel artists, singing pastors. They don't preach the doctrine of Christ. They can't. How can they preach the doctrines of Christ when they tied to the world? They bound into that hellified, satanic, organized, so-called gospel music industry. Gospel artists have went in back doors, went in places and made deals with the devil like R&B and rap artists and everybody else of the world. They have put their souls online to make deals. They had done dirty deeds to get their record recorded. Ain't no different. Ain't no different. Well, if we go back and start talking about how the gospel music industry evolved into what it is now, we go back years and years ago and tell a lot of them true, like Jane Cleveland and all them who was pioneers and stuff like that. They have to tell you the truth. Marvin Winans has spent decades recording music with a lot of them strange so-called gospel singers, sexuality wise. They ain't gonna tell you. See, there's a lot of stuff they ain't gonna talk about. And these people supposed to be preachers and pastors, but they sit on so many secrets. They won't tell y'all the truth. They feel like certain stuff ain't y'all business. But anything we gonna put God's name to and say we doing it for God, ain't nothing off limits. You should talk about everything. The gospel music industry, the artists, and everybody is full of sin. That's the fact of the matter. It's full of sin. But yet they be standing in the pulpit for years, sitting on secrets. Won't preach the truth. Won't tell the people the truth. You'll go to the celebrities, world of celebrity funerals, and try to preach them into heaven when you know they died in sin. Had no business going to them funerals. God said, let the dead bury the dead. Let the celebrities come to the church. They want to hear the gospel. You ain't got no business catering to worldly celebrities. They want, Chris called me. Somebody called me. I got to go minister to them in private. I got to go meet with them. Let them come to the church. If they ain't coming to the church, you don't need to go meet them. Why you showing them favoritism when the average people in the church can't get you to come visit them? You send the elders or somebody else to go visit them. Y'all show favoritism. You operate about money. I'm a celebrity. My celebrity friends in the world, I'm gonna go cater to them. When they call me, I got to go. But you won't take 5 or 10 minutes to minister to the man on the street. They beneath y'all. I ain't gonna pull over and minister to the homeless man. Won't spend 20 minutes on the street ministering to folk. Why? Because they scared. They scared of the public. They're afraid they might get attacked. But yet they call themselves men of God, preachers, bishops. They wear them title bishop, but they ain't never stood for righteousness. They ain't never stood for truth. Don't follow these so-called singing gospel preachers, pastor, bishop. Care how much money they done made. They don't line up with the Bible.